Wow. Wow. I had to pull out the bang for this one, baby. I had to pull out the bang. We got a lot to talk about. What's up, guys? It's good to see you. Wow. Oh, we have so many things to get to. It is not even funny. It's so good to see you guys. I see you guys popping up. Good to see you. There's a lot of people. You guys were waiting for a minute, so I appreciate that. It's good to see you. Good to see you. We have so much to get to, so I'm gonna pull up my notes here. I'm gonna lay out the format for tonight, just so you guys are aware. I have clips on Peacock that we're gonna watch together. So I want you guys, if you're okay with being a little patient, what we'll do is I'll pull up Peacock and we're gonna kind of scrub a little bit through it together. I don't know where everything is. I just watched the episode last night as well with you guys that did watch it last night. I saw a lot of you guys are in other countries, so I know you didn't get a really chance to see it. So I'm gonna pull up some stuff that I thought we should talk about specifically. I also have notes, so we got a lot we're gonna get into. First of all, I want to know before we start, okay? Before we start, what did you guys think that did watch the episode last night? I'm going to wait for a second because I want to read what you guys thought. We'll get in, obviously, to my thoughts, but I really want to know what you guys thought. Good evening. It's good to see you guys. I'm going to try my best to read as many chats as possible. It was a lot. I tried to click on your chat, and it went too fast. It was a lot. Not what I expected. Not what I expected at all. I was just sitting there thinking to myself, I don't know if it would have been good for us to talk about it live or not last night, because after I watched it, I had a lot of questions. I guess I was a little more confused. Maybe I had an idea of the format in my own head. So maybe that was on me, to believe that. Maybe I just believed things were going to go a different way. So maybe that was on me. But it was interesting, I guess. I mean, I don't know. We're getting into all of it. So here's what I want to start with. My initial reaction after I finished the episode was it was not what I expected it to be. And the reason being is because I really thought that the whole episode was really going to be about her. I really thought that the central focus was to interview her and have the conversation. Now, let's go ahead and give Keith an understanding. Let's go ahead and give them we need to give Keith a break, and I'll tell you why. Susie, thank you. I appreciate that. It's good to see you guys. And Amber, you're exactly right. What I was interested in. Okay, so let's go back to the video I did before. I knew that Rob and Ray and Ron and a couple other people were going to be involved in this episode. So I hear all these things and I'm going, okay, so we have all these people and we have Lori and we have her interview. So what I'm confused with is I guess in my initial reaction to the idea of the interview was that almost the whole thing was going to be her talking. What I didn't expect is the episode really jumped to the very beginning. Okay, this is going to be a spoiler for anybody who hasn't watched it yet. And I'm going to lay that out flat because I'm going to show you guys clips of the episode and scrub through it. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want it spoiled, this is your spoiler alert. Okay, I'm going to let you know right now. I'm going to be talking about the episode, breaking it down, all kinds of different things. The reason why I was confused is because it felt like the process of the interview wasn't as long, or the format of what I thought would happen is they were going to sit down and just talk. Kind of like what happened with her and I. And obviously it was very different from that. But she did say some things that I thought were interesting. We're going to talk about her attitude. We're going to talk about some of the things she said. We're going to talk about really just my own opinion and breakdown of what I thought. What I didn't expect is for the episode to tell the whole story over. And let me just say it now because I don't want to have to talk about it later. One of the things I thought was really interesting, okay, was that It was a long episode. Thank you to grandparents. That's very sweet of you. Yeah. There's a lot of things we're gonna get into. So here's what for me, here's what was going on in my mind. I was not expecting it to go backwards. Okay. So I did not expect their conversation in the episode to recap the entire thing. I didn't expect that. You know what I mean? Thank you, Jules. I'm here for you guys as well. I didn't expect them to recap everything. Now, when I tell you that, it's because this. The reason I tell you that is because for the first time in my life, it did not trigger me to level 100. Now, it was hard to watch. It's never not hard to watch. But I want to give you guys a good report and news first. So start with good news, then we'll get to all the crap. The best thing that happened for me personally, okay, the only good thing I could find was that it didn't trigger me to the level of what it used to. And that shows me progress. And I'm sharing that with you because of the tone of the channel, what we've talked about before. It does eventually get to a point where I can actually sit there and watch it and it doesn't destroy me. And that is crazy because I never, ever expected to be at that level. And, you know, Dateline's very thorough. They're very detailed oriented. They were talking about JJ and Tylee, and they were very, very detailed. It was very hard to listen to. It doesn't change that, but it didn't take me off the ledge. So I wanted to start with good news there. We're going to get into it too. Granny says, I finally caught you live streaming. I am on your replay crew. I hope all good things for you and your beautiful family. Thank you, Granny. Very sweet of you guys. Much love to you too, Wendy. We got a new member, Gail. You guys are going quick. I can't even keep up with all your chats. All right, so let's do this. We're going to jump over. I'm going to grab my headphones and everything. The headphones are ever dying. But we're going to talk about this. So I'm going to read you guys some notes that I had last night that I wrote while watching it. And then we're going to get into the clips. But I wrote a lot of things. A lot. So let's go ahead. Pop in. I'll be reading your guys' chats as we go. So just so you know, I'll put them up on the screen when most I can. If it's playing a clip, I'm not going to read them out loud. I appreciate you guys a lot. Yep, that's exactly it. Gritty Grat got it. It was 91%. It was mostly a recap of everything that's happened, and I was really surprised that they took that that creative route compared to what I really thought it was going to be. Wow, appreciate that. Thank you. That is very sweet of you. Seriously. We're all healing together. I love it. This has been an incredible community. I want to shout you guys out before we get going. Tiffany, hey Colby, I'm Ray's sister. You guys did great. I know the show isn't what we all thought it ought to be. You guys did fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. It's good to see you here. That's exactly what my thought was. Maybe they had to cut. She was just dog. She rambled. So I just want to give you guys context real quick. When I interviewed her, this is exactly what I can't prove it, and this is just shows you exactly where my head was at. You cannot have a conversation. It's not a back and forth. You cannot talk to this woman. So I had to play very, very eggshell. Obviously, I knew Keith has no reserve. He's trying to get these answers. They're sitting in there with the whole crew. They got a certain amount of time. This is how it was. But for me personally, I knew I couldn't do the same thing that he did because you get that answer. Were you there, Keith? Were you there? Shut up. Let's watch the episode. I'm just going to play a couple clips for you. Okay.
I cannot help but wonder. The one in orange, I need hardly tell you, was, perhaps still is, the most infamous quite often as
all this garbage. So this is the intro. And the reason I'm showing you the intro because this was almost some of the most this was actually some of the most that she talked from the whole entire episode. A lot of the episode was a recap. Didn't expect that, but this is actually when she was speaking right off the bat. So tell me if you guys can hear. Is it sound good on there?
Mom in America.
I heard that. And
we all know what the media does, and they exaggerate everything and they make stuff up and they twist things around. So I don't know how it became what it is today. It's amazing to me. And I don't really know. And I'm not exposed to what's going on out there.
Are you misunderstood?
Absolutely. But yeah.
Misunderstood how? I mean, how do
In
they get
every
you
way.
wrong?
I mean, how do you know a person if you never talk to them in 5 years? How do
So here's the problem. She's just the biggest issue that I had with it was she wanted this, right? Like we're talking about someone who asked to be interviewed. So let's just think about the context there. You're asking Dateline to come, sit down, bring a camera crew, spend the money to fly people out, whatever it has, the goals behind that, right? There's a realistic side of this. Keith's got to come out there, all this stuff. And you wanted this, but you didn't want to be interviewed. And we talked about that in the last video. She did not want to be asked questions. She genuinely just wanted to, she had an agenda ahead of time. This is Keith's words. She had an agenda, and I'm sure a lot of that had to get cut. But she's just, why would you ask someone to come in and then just be a total prick the entire episode? I don't understand that. Like, you asked for him to be there. And obviously he's going to ask you questions. That's the whole entire point. You've seen, I'm assuming she's seen Dateline before, or at least knows what it is.
you know anything about them? How do you know anything about their life? About how it really is?
You remember the
Can I turn
case,
this up?
right?
Oh, I can.
Who can forget it?
I'll turn it up for you. Okay, so here it goes. So
hey, Chad Norris, Dateline.
There you
How
go.
are you?
So this stuff used to trigger me to death. We're gonna skip past all this. This is the issue with the episode that I will say, okay? And not an issue, but not, you know what? It was an issue for me, okay? I don't know why we recap the entire thing. That's my only point. For me, it was so interesting. You have Ray, who's incredible, who lived it, and you have Rob, incredible, lived it. Ron, incredible, lived it, right? You have all these people who are there who lived through this, and we spent most of the time, instead of hearing what they think and their opinions and their perspectives and interviewing them, we kind of just relive the entire situation. And again, I'm not crapping right now on Dateline's format because I don't produce TV shows, and they still did a good job as far as the episode goes objectively, right? Telling the story is if you've never seen the story and you watch this, you'd have a pretty good idea what happened, right? You pretty much know everything, and you get to hear from her. So I understand from their perspective. From my perspective, I like to go deeper. I want to hear people's perspectives, and I want to know that, you know, what they think and what they feel. So, and I thought he was going to deep dive longer with her. I'm going to go ahead and give Keith the benefit of the doubt and Dateline that she must have rambled so much that it wasn't even worth showing anybody. Okay. That's just what I think. Okay. We're going to skip around. Like I told you guys, if you kind of see on what I'm showing you, a lot of this is stuff that we heard about. So I'm kind of skipping just to her conversations, and there's going to be ads. So I'm going to have to take it down if it goes on to an ad. I didn't think about that, but hey. Oh, it's a Domino's ad.
With
Never
Domino's
dying.
Mix and Match deal, you can order any pizza you can dream up.
We don't care about any of that. We don't care about Domino's. Okay. So anyway, what I'm thinking is can you guys hear the Domino's? I really hope you can't hear it. Kevin Hart's in my ear. He's talking all this garbage. Sorry, I have to ask you guys because I don't know. Let me know if you can hear the ad because I tried to mute it. But I think that the hardest part about all of it is you heard what I talked to her about. And I think the hardest part is she wanted a bigger platform to either reinforce that or get her part in deeper, whatever she expected to happen. But why drag Keith into it? Why get mad at him? You wanted him there. All right, we're back.
There, Melanie discovered that Chad Daybell, a man
He's in front of the candy. Where is he?
She knew was one
Sorry,
of the
I'm not
speakers.
gonna be mean.
Chad was an author of end times
I'm
themed
not gonna say.
fiction.
I'm not gonna get mean.
Claimed to have
tonight.
had near Lori.
What was that like?
That was amazing.
Tell me about it.
It was amazing because
This is one question.
the vi-
And I'm like I told you guys, this is a reaction, so we're gonna talk about it. I wanted to ask a lot of the questions that he got to. One of them was Chad. I don't know if I could have sat through that, but I had it on my notes. I told you guys in the last video when we talked about my interview with her. I wanted to ask her about Chad. I tried to have that conversation with her, but it obviously didn't go down that way. So he specifically, and we skipped over it a little bit, but he specifically asks about meeting Chad right here.
veil was once again opened, and we remembered each other.
The veil? Why, the veil between heaven and earth.
Freaking Keith out here. I guess
And
we skipped
that,
over it.
said Lori to Melanie, is how she knew she and Chad had met in past lives. Lots of times. Chad's past lives?
How many?
31.
31. I forgot about this part. 31 lives. I have this written in here. 31 times. You're that bad at living that you had to come 31 times and being reincarnated and re-put on the earth 31 times. You're that bad at it. Dog. 31 times. How does someone say at some point you get to know them and they go, hey, yeah, so I've been here a lot. You know, I'm pretty familiar with the earth. Been all over the place. Oh yeah, how many times you been here? Just a casual 31. This is 32. You know what I mean? Like, I came back as Peter Griffin. Like, that's the next step in all of my evolution. Get the frick out of here, dog.
And Lori's past lives.
How many lives had she supposedly had?
21. And just 5 on this planet. Both of them had 5 on this planet.
Oh, wait a
Oh, I forgot the planets. I forgot Jupiter, Ibracle, you make it up, whatever you want. We are in absolute Delulu land. I gotta throw my hands up on this. I forgot. I guess I already shed half of this episode out because it's just such nonsense. It's nonsense. And at some point, it's just funny. It's so ridiculous. All of the belief system. Okay, nothing what happened to anybody being hurt or anything of that situation is funny. Never will be. What's funny is the belief system is so whacked out. How can you even sit there and have someone tell you that this is the case, and you're literally just like, oh, okay, 31 times. 31 times. Frick out of here, dog. I don't know how to skip over this.
Just on this planet.
I mean, it's
Okay, here we go. Sorry.
Where were the other ones?
Other Earths that were located in the universe.
my spirit
Earth
was
616.
standing up, looking down at my body.
But now,
And
years after that meeting and all the trouble that followed it, sitting here talking to me in jail, maybe Lori would finally recognize a more normal reality.
I mean, it's unlike anything earthly once you're out of your body. I was like,
So this is where I'm starting to understand Keith more. So I hate to keep comparing the two, but I have to. There's no other way for me to explain it in context without comparing the interview that I had with her and this. She rambles past I could be talking like this to her and she's still talking. It doesn't matter what I say. There's no stopping at all. So he probably here's exactly what I think she pitched him from top to bottom. Exactly what she said to me. How she passed away, and when she was giving birth to Tylee, she passed away, went to heaven. That was exactly when she first was unveiled, when she first had all this stuff happen, and then that was her spiritual awakening. And then from that point on, she was awake. Whatever that means. Okay.
No.
But look,
I recognized him
No.
spiritually. He
Recognize
recognized me spiritually, that we had known each other for eternities.
eternities, plural, or one eternity? How many eternities are we talking? 21?
Chad, hi.
Hello.
Soon, Chad appeared on a podcast.
My gosh. All right. We're going to keep skipping over you guys can go watch the episode if you want to watch the episode. We can't do that here. We can't stream the episode. It will literally block our entire stream if we do it. And let me know if that happens, by the way. I'm trying to read your guys' chats, but yeah, it's a lot going on. Just let me know if anything happens. I don't think it will stop it, but we'll try. We'll make sure we
Try
go.
to.
So when Chad came along and said you're a goddess and you've lived for since the beginning of time, and
Who
so is
said
he.
that Chad said that? Are you saying that Chad said that?
No, I'm.
Did you hear Chad
I'm
say
just
that to
trying
me?
remember.
You've heard a lot
Did
of
you
stuff,
hear?
Keith, and
But
I'm here
what-
to say you've heard a lot of stuff,
what-
but what I tell you will be the truth.
Well, will it be?
Dog, if you really look at this is just sad. This is sad. Like, what is going on? What is going on? What are we doing in life here? Okay, so let me address this. Where to go? I think you just asked that question. Someone asked the question. I keep seeing people ask, did she have a stroke? I don't know. I think if you want my honest opinion, I think her Botox wore off because she had Botox. So I'm just assuming that's why her face looks different. I don't know. Stop. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right, let's keep going.
Was it ever? With Chad in the picture, said Melanie Gibb, Lori began saying some strange and disturbing things about husband Charles.
Chad calls and says, I just want to let you know that Charles.
We're going to skip all of this, kid. It's going to be another ad. Gosh dang it. All right. Hold on. Sorry. I have to play through the ads. It's just how it works. There's no other ways we could do it. Read you guys' chats while waiting for it. It's very, very different. Can't expect it. You know what I mean? When I saw Tylee in heaven before she was born, she was going to come have all these difficult things in life, and she was giddy with excitement about coming to earth and fulfilling her mission. Yep, she does say that exactly. More Kevin Hart and Domino's. I know. You guys are. So the reason I had to move a headphone is because I'm listening to the ad, and it's gonna get in my head while I'm talking to you because I'm listening to the ad still. But I have a lot of notes we'll go through at the end of it. I'm just trying to show you guys really the clips of the actual conversation. There's a lot of other good things that are part of this, which is like all the other guys who are involved, all the Rexburg Police Department, all that. They're incredible. So we'll get to that when it comes. Oh, Domino's, you got one. Brenda's going to get you some Domino's. Yeah. Well, I think, and that's the point too. Like the reason we're having this conversation on top of it is she doesn't care at all. She's not remorseful because she has no empathy because she doesn't believe she needs to. She doesn't need to. All right, here we go. We're gonna go quick. We're gonna skip over all this.
Lori told the
Right.
police,
And there's a lot of stuff in
Charles
here
was the
this episode has a lot of interesting things. There's a lot of things that happen, but it does go through the hard, gritty details, and that's the hard part to listen to. Please tell me we don't have to do another ad. Please. Gosh dang it.
When my doctor gave me
guys.
Breztri for my COPD,
This is all
I noticed things.
I didn't know that I was gonna have so many ads. So anyway, sorry, we got a lot of stuff going on. This is how it is. I'm gonna show you a few more things. I'm really trying to just scrub through the actual interview for you guys first, so I can get to the notes. There's a lot of things that she did say to him that I thought were really interesting. Things that I didn't get a chance to really talk to her about, and I think that that's kind of where when I was done, I honestly, once she told me what she said about Tylee, I wasn't curious about anything else anymore. I was done with the conversation. I think I was done with us having any type of communication because there wasn't any reason for us to. So there's nothing left for me. I was like, oh, just whatever. All right, here we go.
have lots of stories to
course,
tell you.
sure.
If you
Which one is the real Lori? Charles Vallow worried about her sanity. Her trial for the murders of J.J., Tylee, and Tammy was delayed for months while she was treated for religious delusions. Now, in Arizona, she's
He's
her
talking
own
over her. She
lawyer
hasn't said a word in this one.
and is either serious or not about this.
Does Jesus visit you often here?
Jesus visits all of us.
Uh-huh.
He's a very good friend of mine.
Uh-huh.
He loves everybody. I'm just his favorite.
You're his favorite.
No, I'm just teasing. It was a joke. Can I joke with you, Keith? Can we joke?
Yes, of course you
That's
can.
my bumper.
That is uncomfortable. Let's just put that also into context. You're on the other side. You're her. And it's just like, we're cool. We're friends. Can we just joke around? Can we just chill? Can we just, we're cool, right? Like, that's the part of, to me is like, okay. Okay. What are you supposed to do with that? What about this is
Sticker. I said,
funny?
if I ever had a bumper sticker, it would say, Jesus loves you, but I'm his favorite.
We were well down the rabbit hole now that she dodged combatively from one distracting diversion to another,
Loves to laugh.
almost like a character in Alice in Wonderland.
I am a talker, so
Was this the real Lori, or is she playing a character?
a lot. Okay.
And playing me too, or trying to.
Okay.
She's got a ring on. That's interesting. She has a ring on. So she still honors her marriage. Huh. That's interesting. All right. Oh, yeah. The ego the size of Texas out here. She did this to get to you. I was always wondering when watching. I don't know. I was actually, not in a selfish way, but I was actually curious. I was wondering if he was going to break into a conversation about the interview that I had with her, just to see what she said. The only thing she mentions, and I'm sure we'll find it right now, the only thing that she mentions about me is she said, I told Colby. So again, people ask me a lot, did she know she was being recorded? She knew she was being interviewed. It wasn't recording her on a random phone call. She and I set up a time and had an interview. So that was the whole point. But long story short, I did want to see if he mentioned it, just to see if she would try to bring everything that she said to me to him. And I'm sure she did. We just don't know. We don't have the context here. Kelsey says, too bad she'll never have a bumper sticker. She wanted chat to know that. All right, let's keep going. This is a wild ride in life.
Characters in this.
And this, again, there's a lot of really interesting things. I've never heard a lot of the conversations in this be had, so it was interesting to me.
According to people who had met him in other contexts, and yet there he was.
Yes, but clearly also an absolutely cold-blooded killer.
Here in our jailhouse chat, we did get one confirmation at least, the obvious one, that yes, they had moved to Idaho because Chad was there, and well, that was where the righteous would gather before the end times. But something else had happened too, revealed by text messages and a friend's eyewitness account. Chad had declared that Lori's daughter Tylee had turned dark.
Hell no. Hell no.
And dark, in those days, seemed to have a way of foreshadowing death. But as she told her story, Lori fixed on a theme she pursued throughout our talk. Tylee, she said, was sick and in pain due to what she called persistent pancreatitis.
She drove up to Idaho and followed me up there. She had to stay in bed for days, right?
But just a week after they arrived,
and this is the thing, again, it's the disrespect. Like, from what I understand, the majority of this interview was trying to double down that she was Tylee's mom. Everything she did for her, listing out everything that she did, how much she cared, why. You know, this is where my mind goes is why are you proving that you were why is it just Tylee? Because like it's weird that she's just specifically doing this because she already pinned it on Tylee. She already is disrespecting Tylee beyond all words and comprehension. After taking her life, her own daughter's life, she is really touchy about the Tylee thing. And I don't understand why. And I still my mind tries to figure this stuff out. I don't know what she's thinking. I don't know why she's saying this. I don't know why the whole entire interview she was trying to talk about Tylee. It's very weird. And maybe she's trying to like paint a picture that Tylee was like on her way to do something bad when she was. Like maybe it's just all projection. That's the only word and the thing I can think of right off the top is that she's just projecting to Tylee all the things that she feels and thinks. That's it. That's the only way I can describe why she's spending all of her time specifically on Tylee and why she's doubling in and trying to explain to herself, to explain to others what Tylee is. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
On Tuesday, September 8th, the family, Lori, Tylee, JJ, and Alex, went to Yellowstone National
Running around.
As
Okay,
for
here we go. So it's just little tiny
a
moments where they
90-minute
let her
drive
speak,
from Rexburg.
which is what I didn't
We were
expect.
going to go see Old Faithful, and she wanted to go. So she got up out of bed. JJ was running around, and she was smiling, and you have seen the pictures, right?
These are the last images ever taken of Tylee. As for little JJ,
I cried enough. Certain things I can't do, guys. Straight up. Come on, Dateline with the ads and everything.
NBC's St. Dennis Medical.
Again, yeah, it is heavy. It sucks. It really sucks. And I don't know why there's so much focus on Tylee. I don't know why she's doing this, and I don't know what her point is. I don't know what she thinks is what she's proving, but I really wish she just shut up. Honestly, there's really no reason for us to have her sitting there talking about taking Tylee and how Tylee didn't feel good and Tylee needed medicine and Tylee was mentally this and I did this for her and I took her to therapy and I took her to go get food. Like, okay, like what is your freaking point? What is your point? Thank you, Ad. That's very sweet of you. Thank you guys for being so kind and understanding. I mean, this stuff is emotional. It's not like it's not emotional. I mean, we're being funny sometimes, but it's still really emotional.
one thing everyone who's met Lori Vallow knows, the woman loves attention, and she is certainly getting it from all over the world.
I hear stuff from my family that's like, oh, somebody does a blog about you every day or something. I'm like, how could they do a blog every day? It's been like 5 years. It's mind blowing.
Well,
It's mind blowing.
a lot happened.
Tragedies in my life. So the
Oh,
media
it's all
loves to
about
do
you. It's all about tragedies and everything happens around you and shut the frick up. How about that? Shut up.
tragedies and turn them into crimes, turn them into horrible things. And I had a lot of tragedies in a row, like a domino effect.
Tragic dominoes?
What? So hold on. This is what I would have straight up said. And I'm gonna say it here. This is what it is. Tragedies turn to crimes. So everything happened around you. Let's go to 21 lives. Okay. Let's just do it. Let's just say we're living in her world. She says that Tylee did what she did. She comes home, finds them, leaves, doesn't know what happens next, doesn't have any idea what happens, just kind of like is so hysterical, has to leave the scene. Someone or some ones comes in and it takes the kids. She never calls anybody, never tells the police, and leaves Rexburg, goes and gets married. And this is going to come up later, but we're going to talk about it now for the people who watch the episode. She says she bought the dress and rings and all the stuff she bought for Alex and Zulema saying that she's going to go and give it to them after. Hey, ring sizes and sizes of dresses matter. No. Are you the same exact ring size and Chad's the same ring size as Alex? I mean, you're just, it's not even intelligent. It's not even an intelligent argument. But the point is her saying, okay, so all these tragedies happen. Why wouldn't you say anything? Why didn't you say anything? Why wouldn't you tell anybody if that is what happened? Why would you want to spend the rest of your life in jail to protect Tylee? What the hell are you talking about? And this is where I get so heated and frustrated is, why are you sitting here doubling down on this when not one single thing you've said adds up at all? And what's even more effed up is she went in this interview and was a little more detailed because she went through trial. So now she knows what people know. She knows what the police know. She knows the details. So now she goes, you've seen the picture, right? Like she knows other people know certain things. So now she's even trying to insert certain information and things of that nature. She's very manipulative. Just ridiculous, bro.
Or maybe, as investigators could see as they collected evidence, something far more intentional. Just 3 weeks after Tylee was last.
So I hope you guys don't get frustrated, but we have to skip because it will shut the stream down, which is what happened to us. I'm not even going to get into any of that. All of this stuff. Crazy. And there's stuff actually that I learned in this episode that I did not know. So I'll give Dateline that I have no idea.
Gain flames.
Shut up,
then
Ken.
Brad.
And Brad. I'm talking to the ad, not you guys. This is the other thing. You see how we've also skipped. That was the only thing that's really surprised me is we're skipping to just segments of her speaking rather than a full-on interview, which is exactly what I thought this was going to be. I just assumed that this was going to be a one-on-one conversation. So that's kind of on me for having a preconceived notion that that's how it was going to be. But it really is just clips. And maybe she did just spout so much that they had to kind of go around it. Yep. I don't think you have to just take that. And honestly, he doesn't seem disrespectful. I think he's holding his own. Like, I don't think you being in that position is not even the word frustrating doesn't cover that. It doesn't cover it. It's nothing like you could ever put in
Everyone
that
has
context.
a time when they live, and everyone has a time when they're going to go back to home, to heaven. So it's kind of the idea of like you go off to college, learn a bunch of things, have experiences. That's what life is, and then you go home. You have more
As Lori sat and
You go home and then go back to college and then go home and go back to college 21 more times? What are you talking about? Why would you keep going to college? Are you failing out of college 21 times? What are we on here?
It all seemed so benign, as if she were in a temple wearing robes instead of bright orange and blue handcuffs in a high-security jail. You'd almost forget what she was here for. Things like this.
All right, there's a lot of things that go on. Let's see. We got to do slow skips to her. And again, there's context in between all of this. They're building the story. They're talking about each person. There's interviews, conversations, and really they timeline almost the entire thing. And it's really hard. There's a lot of things that are really hard to watch in this. Here we go.
That is difficult for Alex without Chad's help.
I'm trying.
But sitting here with me, Lori simply dismissed all that. No foul play at all, she said. Perfectly innocent.
Tammy died of natural causes. Tammy knows the truth. I love her and she loves me. We've been friends for eternities.
Seriously, this is the highest disrespect a human being can have. Highest disrespect a human being can have. To effing sit there and tell people that she's friends with Tammy is cannot put into context how disrespectful that is. I really don't even have the words. I just have to say what I can in the sense of there's no way. There's no freaking way you could have the mentality to say that Tammy loves you. And everybody's kumbayaing. You're best friends. Everything's cool. No problems. Everyone's Gucci. We're all best friends, and no one's mad. No one got killed. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yes, and nowadays, Tammy comes to visit her in jail, said Lori.
So unbelievably
Anyway,
disrespectful.
the funerals weren't over. Another
is gone.
But first, it was time for a wedding.
Cash back big with
No
Chase
cash
Freedom
back.
Unlimited. Earn a $200 bonus.
No. Keith's voice is so smooth and he record himself. Yeah. He can do what's it called? What's that thing called where people talk in the mic all soft? ASMR? ASME, whatever it's called. Keith, no, he's a good speaker. He's also a really great interviewer. I have to give Keith props. He keeps his composure the best he possibly can. He's been in some horrible situations, I'm sure. He said he's interviewed a lot of people. And he said this is nothing like he's ever experienced. And I just put my hands off the wheel and say, okay, at least someone else understands. It just feels good for someone else to at least kind of understand where I'm coming from. But you guys see how this episode is framed. A lot of when she's talking, he's just talking over her because there must have been a lot of stuff they didn't want to use, whatever the case was. Trying to scrub through this.
Yeah, I think we are, aren't we?
I'm friends with everybody. I love everybody.
Yeah.
Are you?
I'm all about the love.
We had raised the subject of love in our conversation with convicted killer Lori Vallow because, well, people do lie about love. And
okay, we gotta skip through a lot of this. Oh,
hey, the happy couple? Who else? Chad and Lori, now Daybell.
What was the relationship with Chad all about anyway?
My husband?
My
My
By
husband
the
that
way,
I've been
Lori-
married to for 5 years?
Sure. And everybody calls you Lori Vallow. Does that bother you?
It doesn't bother me, but I'm Lori Daybell.
not
It
legally.
was often difficult to keep Lori on point. But on this subject, the wedding and preparations for it, she seemed willing to talk.
I can't even put into context what I think about this.
She was murdered on October 19th, 2 weeks after Lori's wedding ring was delivered. In journalistic terms, this would be called a gotcha.
And you bought the wedding rings.
That is
Before.
an untrue statement. You don't know what you're talking about on that one.
It's online. The
Where-
purchase is there. And then we see the video of those very rings on your fingers and that ceremony on the
Okay,
beach.
those rings were not initially bought for us. So
Oh, here we
get your
go. Here it
facts
is.
straight, Keith,
Who were they
before
bought
you
for?
start making accusations. See, you don't know. You
Who
don't,
were they
you
bought
don't have
for?
any idea because you've heard all these rumors.
You're going to tell me who they were bought for.
Rumor has it
Who were they bought for, if not you?
Alex and Zulema initially.
Really? Because
That's-
let's do the effing math. Ring sizes matter, dog. Not everybody has the same size finger. So context, you buy them rings on your Amazon account. You don't give it to them. You're like, oh, cool, we'll keep them. They're our exact same size. Is this Lord of the Rings? Does it just shape? Is this the freaking gauntlet in Infinity War? When he freaking puts it on and it perfectly fit. I mean, what are we doing here? It's just that, like, that alone right there. It's so simple. How stupid is that? That doesn't even make any sense. And that stupid song, dog. How about that? That's how I'm feeling right now.
Lori's brother, Alex Cox, and the woman he would later marry, Zulema Pastinas.
In our ceremony.
Lori's version?
I haven't.
After buying
I have
the
to scrub
rings
the
and
best I
dress
can
for
of it.
Zulema, Lori and Chad borrowed them.
We used them in our ceremony, and then they were given back to Alex.
Oh, were they?
The problem with that story? Well, investigators have many. First, former FBI Supervisory Special Agent Doug Hart, who examined...
By the way, shout out to Doug. Incredible. Everyone who's involved in this is incredible. They deserve a standing ovation. Like, I can't give them the respect when it comes to Ray, Rob, Ron, Doug. You have to understand, I'm gonna take a second to salute to them right now and give them as much honor as I can in this moment. They put their lives into this. And this is tons of people. So there's a lot of other people involved. But I always want to give them their flowers right here, right now. These people sat here and scrubbed through text messages and went and found them and traced their steps and did everything they could to make sure that my siblings were okay. They put their lives into this. They spent long days, early mornings, late nights, the things that they had to experience and go through, the trauma, to have to listen to every word being said by her, having to get to know every in and out just to do this. Let's just give them their flowers right here and just honor them as the good men and women that they are. There's a lot of other people involved who are not in this episode, but we just need to take that second and honestly give that to them, because these are incredible people who put their lives, their literal lives, into this to try to find Tylee and JJ. And then after that, they still took care of things. They wrapped it up and they brought justice. And she obviously can't stand that they have evidence. I mean, it's just the most wild thing. It's online. That's a great part. It's online. They have it right there. That's ridiculous. Come on, bro. This is so stupid.
Tens of
saying, hey,
way.
We got to skip a
Return
lot of
to
it, like I told you guys.
from a
We need to be very careful. I don't know
and
if
it's
it
strange.
can get shut down at any minute. Just letting you know.
How they asked about
I wish I could watch all this stuff with you guys.
many special and base.
And hopefully we can clip out a lot of it at a later
Right.
date so we
Right.
can talk specifically about what they said, because that was also something that I was interested in. All right. We got a lot of ads. We see what you guys are saying. Yep. And you're exactly right. Yep. But that didn't happen. See, cool. Colby Smith therapy. It's funny. Right? I mean, it's just so, it's not even like, did you even, if you're gonna say stupid stuff, do you have any like thought process ahead of time? Was there any thought they're not your rings, but they perfectly fit both of your fingers and they were bought in your sizes, but they also fit everybody else, especially the dress too? Is the same dress size, same ring size. That's really wild. You guys are twins. Thank you. I hope I say your name right. Moni, probably Moni. Um, Thank you, because this is why we do this. This is why we have a channel. People ask, why are you talking about this? Why are you bringing this up? And it's because I'd rather have my voice. You guys hear what I think and feel, and hear what you think and feel, rather than have media run it. 'Cause
I'm here to tell you the truth, and you don't even want to hear it.
Of course I want to hear it,
I don't think you do.
but I want to hear the truth about all kinds of things.
Time and again during our interview, Lori assured us that while others lie about her, she was telling us the absolute truth.
I'm trying to give you the truth, and you really don't want to hear it. So you want the truth
Yeah.
that you
Oh.
want the truth that you already think you know. I'm the person it happened with. I'm the only one who knows the truth,
So
and I'm trying to give it. But if you don't want to hear it, I will be happy to be quiet.
Of course, it would have been easier
you're
to
being interviewed. I don't even understand why you'd say that. What do you mean you'd be happy to be quiet? You're literally asked to be interviewed. What I think is really interesting is she's so defensive to the point where she doesn't like and says, "You're shaking your head. You're shaking your head. You're not believing me. You don't believe." She she has to see that he's buying it. She wanted to have him buy it right there in front of her. She wanted to see him eat that plate of crap.
believe that, were it showing then to Tally
He's an OG.
and more enforcement.
An OG. He's not playing with her. And
Lori
he has
her
to be that way.
to ball her out about the
Can't even be.
You're into that.
Lori.
There's nothing.
Jay.
Go.
They walked out. It's absolutely
the turn.
Sometimes those things make me so flash. How many ads are we gonna have, brother? Apparently, we can have a ad list. Somebody said that earlier. I didn't get to show it. I didn't know that. I guess I'm cheap. I have the $7.99. I should have got the premium. Sorry. I didn't know. Didn't know you could do that. on Peacock. So, but I appreciate you guys being here. I just want you to know that. Thank you for being part of the part of this kind of healing part of my life. Um, I think that for me, it's crazy because I'm still processing it, and you guys are with me, and while I'm processing it live with you, these are just all my thoughts again. And rewatching it again, seeing these clips is really interesting because I didn't remember obviously everything you said. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, she's just so competent that there's too much competence for her to be out of her mind. So
I never spank my
you're seeing it right
children.
here.
I don't yell at my children. I only use love and logic with my children, right? I want to build them up. I want to help them because of what I learned in heaven. The knowledge I
As Lori Vallow continued to explain the finer points of parenting, it was not lost on us that more than 5 years ago she had gone on the run when detectives asked her one simple question to which every parent of a 7-year-old child should have an answer. Where's your...
Well, I'll give her this, okay? My mother, okay, she never hit us. She never spanked us. She never did anything like that. She also wasn't necessarily disciplinary, but she also didn't do the other side. So and Keith actually explained this. I don't know if this was in the interview yesterday or if this was something he said in this episode, but I just heard it. So I'm just going to reiterate it. Keith said she was the fun mom, and that's exactly what it is. She brought people in. We had fun. She could get a party going. She could make it fun. And that was like her big thing. She was the party person. And the problem is that, as you guys know, life isn't a party. And you need to also know that you can't just go do something fun every time something's hard. Yes, you can do that, but it's called balance. You still have to experience life, and you can't live in a fantasy. And I think we are running to fantasy land when it got hard. And it's just discipline's an integral part of growing up. And I had to learn discipline later in life, and I'm still learning. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything about discipline, but that's my big thing with my kids too, is I just want them to have loving discipline. I'm learning that and learning how to love them the way they need to, but also make sure, hey, I'm not your best friend. Okay. I'm your parent, and I need to teach you and love you and guide you and get you to where you need to be and understand how to live life. That was not how it was growing up.
child disappeared?
I'm gonna say, oh gosh, skip.
I
this.
called her because I was
Colby,
Two Arizona.
be
out of here.
cell phone
Didn't know.
beliefs.
Cox,
We're gonna
or
go over.
Angel
We'll go
was-
over everything that was said in those moments too. I want
or at least
to
death.
hear
death of Alex.
what
Detectives
all
and
of them
special
had to say,
agents.
especially with Ray too.
The
I want to talk about all of this, but right now we're just sticking to this specific part of the highlight of her interview,
Keyword
which I think
search,
for me
and
personally,
if-
it just wasn't what I expected.
St. Dennis.
All right, we're back in commercial. How we doing? 8:30, huh? I think we're doing pretty good. Glad you guys are still here. Hopefully we're not having too many tech issues. And let me know in the chat if there are some more. She spews poo. Thank you. I like to just say what's on my mind. I like having you guys here. It's really nice. It's nice to not do this alone, honestly. All right. Trying to get to it.
Tylee's very smart, very sassy. She knows how to push your buttons. She knows what to say.
Gotcha.
I was able to be
He's
very
never gonna interview.
peaceful with Tylee. I was able to be patient with Tylee because I watched her suffer so much.
All right.
Okay. And I knew she was not going to live forever because you know that you can die of pancreatitis anytime you have it.
Of course, yes.
She had it every year.
As I listened patiently to Lori Vallow's long and winding discourse about
Let's give Keith also an understanding and a round of applause for he can't ask her questions. And when I keep saying it over and over, I'm just letting you guys know straight up, there's no way he had an opportunity to ask her any questions. She's just rambled through everything. And you can tell of all the times that he's talking over
her daughter,
like
Tylee.
this.
My mind kept going to those strange days in the spring of 2020 when searches of Google
Phones had detailed
Lori's residence.
the case.
We're going to go through
Morning
all that
Coons
stuff in real
now
time, guys.
on that piece.
You see what I'm saying? We're really scrubbing
heard
through
the
this
tension.
episode, and there's not a lot of her interview.
Evidence
Were removed. You found
So
human hair.
it's interesting
over his
Those
that
Tylee, who was
Chasing
don't
down
want
your kids.
on theft
you do it right now.
since Chad.
All right,
What
we'll
on
get
earth
another
was
ad
she
in about
talking?
2 seconds. We're almost done, guys. We're almost through most of the interview with her. And the reason we're focused on that is because we'll break down everything else another time again. Yeah, kudos to Keith, honestly. He did a great job. And I had a really good experience with Keith. We did have a really good conversation, and he was awesome and very understanding, very respectful, and it just felt nice for me personally to have a good experience with media because it always feels like they're trying to get something out of you and they want to, just kind of push things. So I think it was a really good experience for me as well. So I just want to put that out there. We had a great time. And I really just enjoyed the conversation because it was very real. He asked some really crazy, really good questions, and they're not in here, unfortunately, but he asked some really, really real questions, and I was like surprised. I was like, wow, that's a really, really good question. Just very close to home questions, but real questions. So
When we met with Lori Vallow Daybell in jail, we were given 90 minutes to speak to her. 90 minutes, no more. She seemed determined to fill the time with tales about Tylee. She claimed that giving birth to Tylee actually killed her briefly, sent them both straight to heaven.
So let's go. Let's just go right here. All right, why do I have to pick this apart this hard? Because it's just so over top ridiculous. So something interesting. Just as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I'm realizing things. Her first thing is she basically was killed by Tylee. That's a really good way to put it. That was her first thing. She was killed by Tylee. So Tylee was already a problem child from coming out. Just being born, Tylee was a problem to her, right? Her claim is that she goes up to heaven and meets Tylee, who's in her stomach, alive. Not sure how that works. Tylee's in there, about to be born. She dies, goes and meets Tylee in heaven, who's literally right there, and has a conversation. But again, that just rung really hard to me just now, is the fact that she can already blame Tylee for something. She can already do that. You know what I mean? That is a whole nother subject. But thank you for your chat. That's a whole nother subject for real.
Before Jesus asked her to return to life on earth.
When I saw Tylee in heaven, before she was born, she knew she was going to come have all these difficult things, and she was still giddy with excitement about coming to earth and fulfilling her mission.
Her mission to come down to earth, to suffer, go through pain and hardships, and then be murdered. She was jumping up and down, yeah? That was her. She was jumping up and down to be murdered by you. Stupid.
Lori dodged questions about the wreckage in her own life.
We have Tylee, we have
Yes.
JJ,
Yes.
we
Mother.
have Chad's wife, we have the attempted murder on Brandon, we have, there's a lot of
to my
mayhem.
life. There's a lot to my life.
Sure.
If you want to hear the actual explanations, I'm here.
There's a
But
big
it
long
doesn't sound
explanation.
like you really want a lot
I
of the
do, I
actual,
do, but
actual explanations.
I don't have all week to hear all these explanations.
Well, it's going to take a long time, so it's probably going to take more than
He
one
didn't even
session.
mention your life, dummy. He said all the things that happened to other people, and you go, there's a lot to my life. It's always, this is exactly what I hit. Everything I said to this woman was about her. Well, what happened to Tylee? Well, what about me? Well, what happened to this situation? What happened to JJ? Well, I raised JJ. What the hell are you talking about? You can't even sit down and have a conversation because he didn't even mention you, dog. He said literally he's talking about everybody else that was affected by you and your murderous acts. And the first thing that comes out your mouth is, there's a lot to my life. What are you talking about? I'm getting mad, trying to chill out.
Uh-huh.
That, the sheriff's office told us, was not a possibility. This visit with Lori, they said, was a one-time thing.
Wanting them to come back.
Her crimes.
I mean, it's ongoing.
Okay, let's just address the baby bun. Stop the type. I'm not going to talk about me in this episode. This is not why I paused it. Let's just adjust the bun, okay? You guys know I have longer hair now. I'm just going to say the one funny thing in this episode is that I did not prepare my hair for this day, and I had the little baby bun in the back. And I'm just going to out myself so we're not having a conversation about it outside of that. It's a baby little ponytail. It's supposed to be a bun. It's not long enough for a bun. Leave me alone. Don't crap on me too much. And yeah, that's what it is. But we're not going to go over my stuff in this because there's no reason to really. I had a good conversation. But we're not
in the past, of course, is
and then the way I
and to worry
To you, so I couldn't really
happened.
down that she had
Remorse.
You're telling me burning her isn't easy to blame.
Sorry.
Me questions. You're
Did she?
Sorry.
It's so unfair to Tylee. She would never do that.
You're asking me questions.
Did she understand what she was doing to her only surviving son?
Oh.
Would she finally face up to what she did?
That's gonna be another app. Okay. No liberty. Yeah, I love it. I just saw someone's comment. I should have clicked it. You guys know, the fam knows. Where's it at? It's behind my head. You got the fake J back there. It's part of history of this channel. It's literally part of the history of the channel, but it's behind my head. You can't see it. It's right there. I love it. So funny. I love that you guys just noticed it, but I saw that right when I jumped on, and Kelsey showed me too. She said, someone said something about the baby bun. I was like, come on, dog. Just come on. It was one of those days. I threw it up in a bun. I bet a lot of people who are new don't know what we're talking about, and they're like, "What are you guys talking about?" We'll have to explain it to people as they come in because it's freaking. Oh my gosh! All right, here we go. I hope this is running smooth for you guys. This is almost it. This is the very end. And this is kind of what
Attitude.
Is that not what you wanted to hear?
Attitude here
You're calling me a babbler?
and here.
Do you want to take a break?
Right? I mean,
as we neared the end of our jailhouse interview with
I'm gonna give you guys
Vallow,
my notes.
I was struck by the contrast.
I think that's kind of the place I'm at now. It's just acceptance, just full acceptance of the situation.
You want to go on late?
That's not even human to do what they did to her after.
And Lori? Not quite sure what this was.
You want to go on later and say, Lori told me this in your ominous voice, but really this is what happened. Are you going to do that to me, Keith?
ominous voice?
Yeah.
Maybe that one.
Yes. That's the exact
Don't play
voice
games
that
with
I'm
your ball.
talking about.
Lori danced, verbally,
You don't
that
want
is,
anything to-
danced away from
You don't want
questions she
any
seemed
games with
determined to
Jezebel.
avoid. She tried to fill our allotted 90 minutes with a long and rambling story about Tylee, clearly leading up to the same one she told son Colby. Well, we tried to finally pin her down on the established facts that had convicted her of multiple counts of murder.
Why did Chad label your children dark and then,
That is all.
call them zombies? You're saying that didn't happen?
Did you hear him say that?
Well, no.
You don't
but
have
others
to
did.
hear someone say something to know. There's a document of light and dark readings. They have it. They presented it. It's not all, did you hear someone say that? That just is so, it's just the most unbelievable thing to hear someone say, well, yeah, there. Did you hear him say that?
I didn't.
Oh, I see. I
You
see.
didn't.
But that would be a pattern that he would label people dark, and then they would either die or somebody would have an attempt on their life.
No,
And
that's the narrative that you've been running.
It's the facts.
The evidence showed that Tylee was killed the night they returned from Yellowstone,
Not accurate.
Sorry.
September 8th,
I don't want to hear all that stuff
2019.
right now.
And JJ was killed 14 days later.
No, that's not accurate. Sorry, it's not the truth. You asked me for the truth. You're asking me personally, the only person on the earth who really knows, and you're shaking your head no, like that didn't happen.
Did I shake my head?
Yeah, you're shaking your head a little bit.
No, I'm just
You're like
looking
this.
at you.
She's mad. She's mad because
The evidence presented at Lori's item.
Absolute steaming pile of you know what. She's so mad that he's literally sitting like this. He's just disapproving. She's like, you're shaking your head. What's, you don't believe me? No.
The
You're
home
bad
murder
salesman.
trial left her jury in no doubt whatsoever.
I'm quoting what the court said about you and Chad, that
Okay,
you
go ahead and quote it.
actually conspired to kill these people.
And
Were you there when
I was falsely
Mad.
accused. I
Mad.
was falsely
Let me ask you
convicted,
directly.
and I will
understand.
be exonerated.
All right, fine. Were you there the night that Tylee died? Were you there the night that JJ died?
Was I
Was
where?
Alex in these places when they died? In the place where they died, were you there?
What place was that?
Did you watch?
What place was that?
Did
Do you have any
I'm
idea?
asking.
Well, I'm the
Doesn't
only
really
one that
matter.
knows. Do you know? You're pretending like you
It
know.
doesn't matter. I'm not pretending I know. I'm asking you. a
What's
question.
funny?
Did you watch your children die?
That's a really sad
It's a
question.
terrible question, and it's one I hate to have to ask. But I mean, we've been talking about all of these.
I was not there.
Mm-hmm. I need 1 second. Let me just gather myself here. Take a breath. Here we go. Okay. Do a little stretching, everything. How you guys doing? You guys doing all right? It's tough. It's tough to watch. It's almost over. I have notes for you guys after, just little things that I wrote while I was watching the first time, but this is almost over, which thank the Lord.
As you know, I told Colby.
There it is.
His response, remember?
Did you believe any of that stuff?
Absolutely not.
In killing a
No.
soul. You didn't conspire to kill a soul.
Correct.
You didn't do any of those things you've been convicted of doing.
Correct.
What to make of Lori? Soon she will have to enter a whole new world. Not heaven. But her
He had some quips in there I thought were funny.
not guilty of conspiring to murder her nephew.
He said some
Brandon.
funny things.
What's
bro.
it like
This was
acting as
great.
your own lawyer?
It's great, actually. It's a difficult thing to do. You have to have your arguments, you know. I think this judge in particular has been pretty patient in letting people get their whole argument out.
I can see where he might need to be.
Yeah.
It
Hell
will
yeah.
certainly give her a bigger slice of the limelight she seems to crave. And, she assured me, will get her ever closer to the final result she fully expects. She and Chad will go free.
Chad was convicted and
Same way I will be exonerated. We will both be exonerated in the future.
because
I have seen things in the future that Jesus showed me when I was in heaven, and we were not in jail, and we were not in prison, and they were still in the future from
Okay.
now.
So let's just talk about this real quick. I'm gonna remove this face for a second. I don't need to see that right now. This is the thing. How many times can you predict the future? Okay. How many times can you predict the future and be wrong and keep trying? I could literally say today, oh, well, there's gonna be rain tomorrow. Okay, well, it didn't rain tomorrow, but in a couple weeks it's gonna rain. And you just keep doing it till you hit. And finally you're like, oh my gosh, it rained. right? Maybe even if you hit, somehow you believe. I really want to know what she's talking to. Because I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it straight up right here, right now. I genuinely do believe she's having conversations with something. It's an entity of some kind. I do believe it. Some kind, some way, whether it's completely fabricated in her brain or it's a demon coming and sitting on her bed. I think she is having full-on conversations with something she's calling her Jesus. And I do believe that she's somewhat convicted of her belief system. I know she knows in her bottom of her heart, none of what she's saying is true about Tylee and all those other things. But regardless, there's some part of her that does communicate with something. I'm just going to put it out there right now. Oops. Okay. Let's finish this out.
Her own little world?
Yep.
Well, something like that.
That's exactly right, brother.
Outside in the real world,
boy.
her only surviving son works hard to build a good life. In spite,
You know, you try to put a brave face on, try to be there for your kids. You try to make it about them, but there's always a loneliness there.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that
his
too.
mother dances
It's heavy.
and dodges his questions and ours.
And you're very good at dancing.
And we should do a little jig.
Shut up.
You've already done a mental jig with your stories.
Yeah. It's not funny. Dog, he's literally telling you that you're so all over the place. He had to mentally dance with you because you're so all over the place. Why is that funny?
Get exonerated. Maybe I'll go on Dancing with the Stars and you can come.
Sure, okay, fine.
Okay.
And then
Exonerated.
All right. I guess our time is up.
Apparently it's up, yep.
All right.
Lori Vallow Daybell went back to her cell.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That was that. That's everything that has to do with her interview. Now, you saw how much we skipped. You saw that we had to really, really go around most of the episode. And unfortunately, there's a lot of other good pieces of the episode. I was really interested in Ray's perspective, everything he had to say, and what Rob had to say, what Doug had to say, what Ron had to say. And I really wanted, for me personally, I wanted more. I wanted to hear what their perspective was. I wanted to know more about them and more about what they saw. And so that was honestly one of those situations where I felt some of it was, I don't want to say the word missed opportunity, but for me personally, it left me with wanting to hear from them. So that made me feel, I don't know. Wow. Yep. 100% a demon. I agree with you. Oh my gosh. Colby, you can continue to do a wonderful job and you're becoming stronger every day. Lori's still so deep in her delusion. I don't think we'll ever come out of it. The truth really does hurt Lori. Wow, thank you. I want to say your name correctly. Janae, I hope I said your name right. Thank you very much for your chat. Blessings to you guys. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go over my notes with you guys. Thank you, Jana. I appreciate you guys being here. I don't know if you got an opportunity to watch the episode yourself. It is on Peacock right now. You can watch the whole thing. I think maybe in the next couple of days, we'll go through and talk a little bit more about it. Colby, you're 100%. She was talking with the demon, pretending to be her Jesus. Thank you for doing these. LS, I messaged you on Instagram about the demon. Yeah, there's a demon for sure, guys. This is my own opinion. I'm just going to say I think she's having conversations with someone. It's not all just delusional thing. She's talking to something, and I think it's talking back. You can play around in that realm. Just saying. Okay, real quick. These are my notes that I wrote. I'm going to take these off because my freaking head is hot. How you guys doing? We went through already an hour already. Unfortunately, there wasn't too much. I don't know what's going to happen with this. I don't know if it's going to let you guys see this after the live because we played so much of that episode. But I'm hoping that you guys can let me know how you are feeling, what you're thinking about that conversation. Maria, are you okay? I don't know. I think so. One thing I'll get to before I get to my notes real quick, I'll answer that question with this. Keith asked a lot of really insightful things about life. And I was really surprised. I was just taken back. Because, I'm assuming that he's going to just ask about, the interview that I had with her or we're just going to talk about whatever the case is, or whatever the case. You don't know what to prepare for. And he was asking me things about what is it like, living life like this after something like this happens. And I'm like, I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, we're sitting here, we're doing this. This is a part of my life. This is something that I've tried to be open with you guys and understand and give my perspective, because it's in the media. This is going to happen whether I participate in the episode or not. It was going to happen whatever happened. She wanted to interview with him, and that's what happened. For me personally, I just have to live with what's left. And the truth is that at some point you pick up everything that you have left. You put yourself back together the best you can. You try to just keep going, trust God, and live a life that's worth living. And you just have to fight for it sometimes, So I think I'm doing okay. And I'm glad to have you guys here with me. To be fair, I'm sure COVID happening, reiterating his teachings since the plague was won. Maybe that's true. Maybe you're 100% right about that. The devil is tricky. I'm glad you set your faith. The devil cannot touch you anymore. Well, and that's the thing too. I think you have to find your own convictions. And, obviously I told you guys on a personal level, I have my own faith struggles with feeling worthy, being consistent. I have my own problems with my own faith. So I'm not going to ever sit here and try to pitch you guys that I'm perfect in my faith or anything, but I truly deeply believe in God and Jesus, and not Lori's Jesus. Heck no, we do not believe in that Jesus, whatever version of Jesus that she has is not Jesus Christ. And I think people can misunderstand, because you hear that word and you go, oh, well, you can't say you believe in Jesus and she believes. No, she's talking about a different one. I saw a guy at Walmart named Jesus. So I'm an idiot. Okay, let me just give it to my notes before I talk myself out. I just wrote a couple of things. One of the things that hit me is that she was so upbeat, right? That was my number one notice. It's like she's coming in, she's striding, she's walking down, and she's feeling herself, right? She says she's misunderstood. That really hit me, because I don't understand how you feel misunderstood. Like, and the problem is it's always about her. So she feels like they want her life story, but then she sat down and talked about Tylee for 60 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever the amount of time was. She talked about Tylee the whole time, but then she said, you can't get to know my life story unless we talk about Tylee, which who are you? What do you mean by that? Is it your life story? Is it Tylee's life story? Is it JJ's? She couldn't even figure out what she wanted from this interview. So was really interesting to me as well. She said that meeting Chad was amazing and that their veil was opened. She said that they remembered each other from all their 30,000 times they've been on this earth and our other earths, and been on Naboo with Obi-Wan. I mean, it's whatever. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I wrote down 21 past lives ? 4 times. Because I didn't have the details of this stuff. So I'm just hearing tidbits of things from people, and I'm hearing that she believes she has past lives and is telling other people that they were with her in the other lives. Now we're talking about 21. We're really outside the realm of what I thought. I thought maybe you were sitting around 3 to 5. I don't know. I don't know. Just to hear the 21 and he's been here 31 times. You guys suck at your jobs. You guys suck at being on Earth. You suck. The were you there part, by the way, were you there comment is so crazy. And did you hear Chad say that? Sorry, I should have read your chat out loud. I keep reading it in my head, guys. Thank you, Sammy. That's very sweet of you to say. Were you there? Did you hear him say that? Those kind of comments are just so ridiculous. I mean, it's just he literally said the rings alone. Okay, I'm sure there's other pieces that I missed, but the rings alone right at the top of my head were evidence of what they did. And the first thing she goes is, well, you heard that, and that's the story, but that's not the truth. And media spins everything, and they were for Alex. Yeah, okay. I'm sure you guys had the same ring sizes too. Whatever. I did put in another piece that I said Jesus visits her often. He's her friend. I already addressed you with you guys already. There's something coming in there, whether it's in her mind, whatever the case is. There's something going on in her back and forth with some type of entity. And these visions and the portals and all this stuff is like, there's witchcraft and there's things that I don't have enough knowledge to speak on. I just have general ideas and things that I've heard the most knowledge that I have, guys, is people who have turned Christian from practicing witchcraft. And I've probably listened to about 10 to 15 different interviews. And what's so scary is a lot of what they talk about that they were doing in witchcraft was a lot of what my mom and Chad and them believed. So that's the knowledge that I have. I have no personal knowledge, and I don't have I'm not very well versed in that, but I just know that, all of these things happening, there's something going on in the span of, she is experiencing, I believe, some kind of visitor or speaker or something of that nature to reaffirm the belief system. I do believe there's something there. I could just be a imaginary friend she made up in her mind, but there's something there, right? That I think talks differently to her, which in my opinion would be a demon, but we'll leave that at that. There's a lot of details that I heard that I did not understand, and it was just presented in this very simply, and I did not know, and it was hard. It was hard to hear some of the details and how they had some specific stuff about the evidence that they had on the bodies they exhumed after, and it was hard. That part was hard. And yeah, it's just digesting that part all over again. So it really sucks. One thing that she said that I thought was interesting too, we skipped over this, but she said, one of my brothers is trying to kill me. This is what she told to Ron. I'm not exactly sure who else was there, and I'm sorry if I'm missing you out. I just heard Ron's voice, but she told everybody something in that time, why she was running and why she was doing what she's doing and why she's sketchy and all these things. But she even told him, he's with my friend. JG's with my friend. And we go back to that place. It's the same thing she's doing here. It's always some type of weird thing that I don't know. I don't have anything else I can say about it. It's just ridiculous. We talked about this, but I wrote it down. She said she used love and logic with my children. What are we talking about? I think I was raised differently than Tylee. And the reason being is because I was way more independent probably than I should have been. I had way more decision-making power at a younger age than I probably should have had. And we just had a very different type of life. Neither one of us had a parent. That's just the honest truth. We didn't have a parent. We didn't have a shaping you, teaching you how to do laundry or teach you how to do anything really. I feel like I look back at my life and I go, I did not learn anything of value. Like I have everything I've learned in my life came later on by either trial and error or someone else showing me. And that makes me want to be a better dad, just to immediately be a better dad. And I just realized that me and Tylee both had a very different experience growing up. I was way more praised, and I think I don't want to use the word ever in this context when it comes to me, but I'm going to use it here so it makes more sense. I think I was more like held on a pedestal, and Tylee was the one that had the issues because I kept to myself and Tylee was vocal. Tylee was an absolutely just did not hold herself back. She did not hold her opinion back. And she was vocal and I was non-confrontational. So anytime the confrontation really arose, I feel like I kind of did anything I could to get to make peace. And Tylee did not do that. And Tylee had the right mentality because you need to have those confrontations. There's nothing wrong. The word confrontation is blown out of proportion. It always seems to be a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And Tylee had that. She did not take anything. She was like a deer and she would buck back. And I think that's because she felt so invalidated and so unseen and things of that nature that it left her in a different type of position than I was in. So we had a different childhood growing up. But the love and logic thing, I don't want to always sound like she never did anything right, because she taught us things. She did certain things correctly. But I'd have to sit here and really think and go through those things for you guys to understand the context of that. I'm just gonna read it how I said it, and this is just your forewarning that I'm gonna say a bad word. She said I was peaceful with Tylee, and then I literally wrote on the page bullshit, and it's because they had more attention than anybody else in the house. They fought the most, and I'm just trying to understand where she came from, where her mentality is, and why she felt the need so deeply to talk about Tylee the entire time. So, I'm sorry, I'm just reading all this stuff. Then she pitched the narrative that she's been falsely accused. None of this is true. Goes back to what we talked about earlier. I mean, it just everything is wrong and everything is against her and everything's about her, and it will always continue to be that way. And as we walk through the rest of this end of this trial thing that's going to happen, and as it progresses, you're going to see the same exact narrative that everything is about Lori. And I highly doubt anybody else will have really a highlight. It will all be about her the entire time, and eventually it will be over. So that's just a forewarning and a preparation. And then that leads me to just the last thing I said, which is she goes, being my own lawyer is great. And I think it's probably because there has to be some motivation. I told you guys in my last video that I even touched on this was she probably has some type of benefits from being her own lawyer. I'm sure there's some freedoms. Maybe she has some internet access. I don't know. I mean, some people were talking in the comments kind of what happens. But long story short, I'm sure there's some kind of other motivation for her to do this. And what was the point of that interview? I mean, you really didn't want to be interviewed at all. You didn't want to answer questions. You didn't want to be put on the spot, and you just wanted to ramble. So she just wanted to tell everybody what she's thinking, feeling, and spew her crap. That's it. That was the whole reason why she wanted to be interviewed by Keith. And again, let's give everybody their props that stood in that room and listened to that, especially Keith being the interviewer. Can't imagine the face-to-face part. I really did consider asking if I could go face-to-face, just because my biggest thing was at the end I was going to say goodbye. So that's what makes it different. Obviously, they're not going to do that. But for me, the face-to-face with her for the interview was to say goodbye. And I was going to look at her and say, you know, this is my goodbye to you for the rest of our lives. And I don't think I'll ever see you again. And that would be it. But that didn't happen. Our interview did not go that way. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. It didn't play out the right way. So I just put myself in a position where I could at least have a conversation with her. And that's all I could do. I asked my questions. I think Keith touched on some of the other things that were needed to be asked. And what I wanted to know was about Chad. I was going to ask her if she was LDS, things of that nature. We've been over that, but that's really where it leaves off. So I don't even want to use the word experience, but I do want to say, wow. I don't know. It's just crazy. Just crazy. I don't even know what just happened in that interview. I don't know how that conversation leaves anybody with anything. Nothing happened really new. I think that was the kind of the main conversation that had later was it's like nobody had any new information from her. Nobody had a conversation nothing that was said was new information, was important. Nothing she said had any merit, and nothing that she was willing to talk about or hear the truth of was true. So what is the point? What was the point of it? I guess that's really what leaves me in this conversation is what was the point of that interview? And at the end of the day, I'm not blaming Dateline. I'm blaming her because she's the one that wanted to be interviewed. So that's the point. You can't have a conversation. Yep. That's all it was. That's all it was. It was a conversation. They danced. They went around in circles. Keith was a true professional and tried his best, but you could see he was leaning up. He got the fingers out when he did this move right here, and he goes, I'm asking you. I went, Keith is going to lose it. Like, how do you not lose it? But yeah, I mean, that's all I got for you guys tonight. If you guys are interested in the video, I'm sorry, in that episode, it is on Peacock. There's a lot of other really good parts of it. I think the perspectives that they did show and the things that Ray had to say, that Rob had to say, that Ron had to say, that Doug had to say were really interesting as well. And that was kind of what I was waiting for. We will talk about other aspects of it. Maybe in one more video, maybe we'll talk about it. But I want you guys to know, like, bottom of my heart, I always say this, but like, I appreciate you. You know, there's so much of this is so complex, and I feel like we're doing like therapy sessions together where I'm just experiencing these things with you, and I just want you to know it means something to me. You guys matter to me. I hope you guys know that I care about you just as much, and I want you to know that I wish I could just sit here and read every chat so we could have a conversation and go through it. But I appreciate you being here. Again, if we do have another conversation about this episode, which I don't know if we will anytime soon, but if we end up having another conversation, I will post about it in the community tab. I just want to say that I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Hope you guys have a great night, and maybe we'll all go do something to wash that out of our mouths, like some Listerine, because that was tough to watch. Even just those little segments were tough to watch. But anyway, appreciate you. Love you. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you soon.